everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I hope you're all doing really well, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today's video is going to be a pattern review all about the Ava Blouse by Jayne at the Dressmakers closet. I am part of Jayne's brand ambassador team, and she has a partnership with Minerva, who I am also a brand ambassador for, where she is supplied with fabric for us to do her pattern tests and pattern reviews and that kind of thing. So at the moment she's doing a challenge on Instagram, which is how to style up the Ava blouse. So she's currently got a discount code running on her pattern, so I'll put that across the bottom of the screen. And Minerva have kindly provided a discount code as well for their viscose chalet core range of fabrics. So that's what I'm wearing at the moment, so I've got the blouse on as well. So for this challenge I decided to join in because I wanted to take myself a little bit out of my comfort zone to try something completely different. This is a different type of look for me. I don't usually wear a blouse. Even when I used to work, I never used to wear a blouse at work either. I am more of a sort of t-shirt under a pinafore kind of girl. I love my pinafores, I love my dungarees. Loungewear style, I usually pair like jeggings or jeans with a hooded sweatshirt or something, and I do love my pretty dresses. I am a bit of a girly girl, so blouses wasn't really something that I wear or have worn in the past very often, so I thought I would give this a go and just see how. I know I've seen like Jayne wear it very often. She's got quite a lot of versions of this blouse, and she styles it up in so many different ways, and I always think she looks really beautiful in how she styles her clothes. So I thought I would give it a go myself. So I have actually been pleasantly surprised in how I feel about this on me. I don't think it's something that I would wear day to day. It is more of a dressy style, I'd say, on me, and I am more for comfort in wearing, you know, like my t-shirts and that kind of thing. I do a lot of housework, I do a lot of running around after the boys, the school run and that kind of thing. Although this is comfy, it's just a little bit more of a dressy style that I probably wouldn't wear on a day-to-day basis. Like, you know, doing the housework in this probably isn't the best option. So with regards to the pattern then, Jayne it was released previously, so it's just this challenge has been brought out sort of separate to that, and it was just something for us to all get involved in the sewing community. So I've been really pleased to be part of that. I'm on day 3 of styling it up. So today I have gone a lot more simpler and just got the blouse on with a pair of ready-to-wear jeggings, and I do actually quite like how that looks. However, I will need to lengthen the pattern in future because it is a little bit short, and I do find that it is coming untucked quite regularly. So the pattern comes in sizes through 6 to 22, so quite a generous size range there, and it does have quite a lot of generous amount of ease built into the pattern as well, so I would suggest sizing down if you are going to make this. I have sized down by 1 size, which I am finding that I am doing that with all of Jayne's patterns anyway, because she does tend to have a lot of ease built into the patterns that I've made anyway. So I've gone down to a size 8. My pattern size for my body measurements would put me in a size 10. So I checked the finished garment measurement chart first before I decided on what size I was going to make, and I decided there was enough ease in the pattern for me to size down to the size 8. So that has fitted me perfectly apart from the length. I was a little bit worried about sewing this up being a viscose, as I'm not really a fan of viscose fabric. I tend to like fabrics that behave themselves a little bit more, but I have to say that this fabric actually is quite weighty, so it was a lot easier to work with than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't have to use any spray starch. That was nice. I've also gone with the colourway that is a little bit different for me as well. I usually go with like pinks and blues and that kind of thing, but this is like a cream base with pink and orange or mustard flowers on it. It also does have some blue flowers in it as well. So I do think the colour palette suits me, but it's not my usual sort of colours that I go for. So there are 2 different style options for the Ava blouse as well. So there is this long sleeve version, which is very voluminous in the sleeve area, and there is a shorter version as well, which also does have some volume. It also has 2 neckline options. So there is the pussy bow option here, which is quite a wide sort of tie, and there is a necktie option, which is more sort of the width of your standard bias binding, and they're both constructed really easily. The instructions are really easy as well, but Jayne does have a sew along on her channel, so if you get stuck in the instructions at all, there is always that to refer back to, and I did actually do that for this pussy bow option. Yeah, so I just I think I looked at the instructions previously and was thinking that I was having to do the necktie option, but then I was like, oh, that's not right, what am I doing? So I then went on to her yeah, her sew along, and just was like, right, yeah, I'm thinking in my head the wrong version. So I just needed to have a look at that, and it set my mind straight, and I was able to do the Pussy Bow version, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, actually it's such a straightforward sew, and there are visual pictures on the instructions as well as written instructions, so you know it's really easy to follow, and it's in sort of order, step-by-step order. Yeah, and I had no problem sewing this up. It took me 2 evenings. I would say that if I was using a more structured fabric, I probably would have whizzed through it a little bit quicker, but I took my time because I didn't want to stretch this fabric out, because viscose is very fluid. It does have a little bit of stretch to it as well, so I just wanted to make sure that I did the neckline properly, and I didn't overstretch it and pull it out or anything like that. So I'm really pleased with how it has turned out. I really like the sleeves, so I'm going to just pan you down a little bit so you can see. The sleeves aren't full length, but you could lengthen them no problem if you wanted to make them full length. But as I put my hands down by my sides, they do sort of fall to my wrist bone, but as I'm moving around and talking, they do kind of reeve up because of the nature of the drapiness of the fabric and the little cuff that you've got around here. That's quite loose, it's not fitted to you, but if you wanted to have it fixed, you could just put some elastic in that, you know, no problem at all. I really enjoyed actually making these sleeves. You just gather them into the cuff, and it gathered so nicely, you know, really beautifully. I've got no puckers or tucks or anything like that, so that went in so well. I'm not usually a fan of gathering. I like gathering, in the sense that when it's finished, I just don't like doing the process, but this gathered so nicely, and I just used 2 rows of gathering stitches, and it just moved along beautifully, and then when I pinned it, it stayed in place. There are no gathers on the sleeve head, so when you put the sleeve in, it literally fits the armhole perfectly around the circumference of it. You just pin it in place and stitch it, and then I overlocked it afterwards. Yeah, and so that's gone in really, really nicely. I've got the shoulder seams are sitting, you know, on my shoulders perfectly, so I do feel the size 8 does fit me really nicely. So I'll pan you down a little bit more just so you can see. I've got it tucked in to the top of my jeggings, but it does pull out really, really easy. I think actually at the back it's already come out, so when I have it untucked, I don't have much there. You know, I could wear it out if I wanted to. I still think that looks quite nice. So actually the length of it without lengthening it is quite nice to sit over sort of high-waisted jeans or jeggings or that type of thing. But if you've got a lower sort of waisted thing, you might want to lengthen it, but I definitely will lengthen it in the future, just so when I do tuck it in, it doesn't reeve out as much, because obviously when I'm moving around and all this kind of stuff, it's going to pull out. That's the thing. There's a seam line down the centre front, which I didn't pattern match, unfortunately, but I don't think it looks too bad. And because the neckties kind of cover it, I can get away with it. But yeah, I just didn't even think of it, if I'm honest. I just cut it out and forgot completely that I would need to pattern match that, but luckily it's not too obvious. It's got a slight keyhole opening here, so this necktie is long enough as well if you wanted to tie it up in different ways. But yeah, overall I am so pleased with this. I really like the drape of the sleeves. The fabric is got that weight to it, so it just falls really nicely, so it's not too lightweight. However, if you wanted to make it in a sturdier fabric, I don't think it would cause any problems. I just think you'd just get a slightly different look to it. And Jayne has made a fair few versions, and I think she's used like cotton poplin, she's used a linen, she's used viscose, you know, quite a lot of options that are available for this. So it just depends on what type of look you want to get for yourself. But yeah, really, really pleased with how this looks. So I'm going to insert some photos here just with how I've been styling it up over the past few days. So on day 1 of styling it, I actually put it underneath my poppy pinafore, which is also by Jayne. And I really like how that looks. And it was just lucky that really the burgundy complemented the colours in this fabric. I wasn't sure initially if it was going to go or not, but when I put it on, I was like, oh, I think it's okay. And I like how the bow kind of sits over the top of that bodice, because it is quite a plain bodice. Then on day 2, I wore it with my copycat Run and Fly, I think that's right, Run and Fly dungarees that I basically copied the pattern of my ready to wear pair that I've got, and I've made them in a teal cord that I had, and I really like how that looks as well. It kind of dresses it down a little bit, so when you wear trainers, you know, it looks a little quite funky, I suppose. And when I wore it with my pinafore, I had it on with black tights and grey boots, I think. So that looked quite nice as well. And then when I went out for the day, I just wore my Jessie coatigan over the top of it. And then when I wore it with my dungarees, I think I just put my raincoat on over the top of it, actually, because it was raining. But yeah, so I quite like how they're, you know, they're quite funky pairings. This is a little bit more simplistic today, just paired with my jeggings. And I will also pair it underneath my Clio pinafores, you know, dungaree sort of dresses as well. They are a little bit tight on me at the moment, if I'm honest, so I'm not wearing them at the moment. I need to sort of fit back into them at some point this year. That would be nice. Yeah, so that's how I've been styling it. Now, if you check out the hashtag Ava Blouse challenge, you will see how everybody else has been styling it up. There have been a number of people who have been participating in the challenge, and it's been really nice to see what they've been wearing it with as well. If you've obviously made it in a pattern fabric, it looks nice under plain garments. If you've made it in a plain fabric, then you can definitely pair it up with patterned garments on the outside. There was one lady who had actually made this blouse in a beautiful pink fabric, and she'd paired it with Jayne's fleur pinafore, and that looked absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. Now, my fleur pinafore is on my mannequin here in the background, but this would not pair with that at all. That would be sort of print clashing at its best, wouldn't it? My word. So yeah, if I had made a plain version of that, then this would definitely work well under that. So I would like to make a plain version, actually, because I've seen some beautiful versions of that for the summer. So yeah. Anyway, so that is my review. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know if you've made this pattern or if you're interested in making it in the future. What I will say is that I did have one lady question if it was similar to the Sew Over It pussy bow blouse, and it is obviously within respect to it's a blouse and it has the pussy bow, but this one has a slightly different neckline to the pussy bow blouse which Sew Over It do. I think theirs is a little bit more of a V-neck and the bow comes lower. There is an option to have the bow higher, but the actual neckline is still lower in the way that it's joined. This is a little bit more of a keyhole opener, and I think it comes down more as a V. Also, their sleeve is completely different. It's a lot more streamlined and is a little bit longer, and they don't have the short sleeve option either that Jayne gives you. So I think I would prefer this option because you've got two completely different necklines. You've got the necktie and the pussy bow and the two different sleeve lengths, and I really like the shape of this bodice. It just fits really, really nicely on me. I've made no changes to it whatsoever. So thank you very much for joining me today. Please do give me a like if you have enjoyed it, and if you aren't subscribed, please do so. That would be amazing. Thank you very much, and I shall see you again soon. Take care. Bye.